The night air clung to Old Town like damp wool, harboring the briny-tainted whispers of the Whispering Sound, and the faint toll of bells drifting upriver from the harbor. Samwell Tarly lingered at the northern window of the highest reading room in the Citadel Scribe's Keep, rubbing his thumb along the cracked wax of a nearly spent candle. The flame guttered low, its wan glow painting his breath silver in the chill. He ought to have returned to the novices' dormitories hours before. Pate the Pidgeboy would already be snoring, and the tallow-fat chandler's lanterns would have been extinguished in every hall but this one. Yet the urge that kept Sam upright was older, deeper, than any schedule of study. On the table lay a tome unlike the hundreds that surrounded him in neat, austere columns. No brass corners, no neat vellum tags, no scent of oil. This book bled mustiness, as if it had drunk river water and lay forgotten in silt for 100 years, its leather husk flaking like frost-bitten skin. It had not come from the vaulted stacks. It had come in a straw-bound bundle from a trading cog arriving from Lys by way of Tyrosh, accepted by one absent-minded acolyte, set aside in a corner alcove, and thence forgotten, until Sam's gentle curiosity had teased it into the light. He drew the candle aside. Letters slithered across the page, crabbed and proud, loops full of daggers and crescents. Valyrian, yet more archaic than any transcription Archmaester Peristan drilled into novices. The ink sheen carried a faint greenish cast, as though a drop of wildfire lingered inside each stroke. Beneath the surface of the scrawl, fine scratches crossed certain sigils, corrections made by some ancient hand dissatisfied with its first effort. Sam bent closer and inhaled the scent. Pepper, dust, and a faint note of brimstone. He began to mutter the words aloud, tasting each syllable as if it were a rare spice. Munyaz aldritsu handas, isa udruta, daoren baron, mother of dragons, heed. It is unburning. A tremor shot through him. Unburning. He turned the page, heart squelching in his chest. A full folio dedicated to diagrams of fire, serpents of flame curling around spheres, tongues of red-jinked conflagration touching what looked to be the sigil of House Targaryen, only inverted, the three-headed dragon strangled by chains of smoke. More words followed, worming one beneath the next in serpentine fashion, and though Sam knew Valyrian's basic conjugations, these lines coiled away from the familiar into strange declensions. He set quill to parchment, copying slowly, translating phrases as he recognized them. Breathe frost upon the furnace of kings. The third breath is silence. Water obeys a different sun. Each line scraped along his mind like a whetstone on soft tin. Beneath the table, he felt the prickle of cold radiating upward, though the hearth 3 levels below remained stoked through the night. He pressed his palm flat upon the tabletop, absorbing the chill, and dared a glance around the vast room. Shadows perched upon every balcony. Books, scrolls, and chained folios slept like sullen giants, but Sam felt watched, as though one among them kept unsleeping vigil. It's only nerves, he whispered. Only tiredness. Yet the chill sharpened. Candlelight sputtered, guttered lower, though there was ample wax left for half the night. Sam pinched the wick, adjusted, and when flame sprang anew he saw, for an instant, letters shimmering where none had been, limning the margins with ghost ink that faded as swiftly as dew at dawn. He leaned back to stop his quaking heart. His gaze traced the lattice of rafters overhead, ancient black wood braced upon gargoyle corbels. In one corner, the stone maw of a stylized Ouroboros devoured its own tail, the emblem of endless knowledge. A single drop of condensation slid from its carved teeth, landing upon Sam's knee. He exhaled. I've studied too long. Yet his fingers crawled back to the book, hungry. A quiet rustle at the stair sent his pulse into a gallop. Soft footfalls, cloth against stone. Someone ascending. Sam hurriedly laid a scrap of parchment over the open page, snuffed the candle to a glow, and turned a placid tome of trade manifests atop both. He fought to slow his breathing. Samwell, whispered a voice. Thin, urgent, female. Gilly. He recognized her before the candle's ember revealed her shadow. Gilly padded into the room, a bundle of blankets held close to her chest. Inside, the babe squirmed, mewling softly. Sam's fear unraveled into relief. "What are you doing here?" he asked, voice a rasp. "He's feverish," she answered. Cheeks flushed from her hurried climb, she shifted the child into crook of arm. "I woke and couldn't find you. The novice on duty told me you might be in the keep." In the dim light, Sam glimpsed the babe's damp brow, the red rims around sleepy eyes. "Little Sam," he murmured. Gently, he pressed fingertip to the boy's temple. Warm indeed. The maester said willow bark, but it stings his tongue, Gilly said. He cries it out. "I'll fetch a milder draught." Sam turned, but in his haste elbowed the trade manifest, which slid away, revealing the forbidden text. Gilly's gaze dropped to it. "What book is that?" Sam swallowed. "Nothing. A curiosity." He tugged the manifest back across it, but too late. Gilly had seen the peculiar letters shimmering faintly even in the guttering light. "It looks wrong," she said, shivering though wrapped in wool. "Like ice under moonlight. I shouldn't have brought you to such chill stone." Sam gathered quill and parchment, tucking them underarm. "Come. We'll see the healer and put both of you to bed." Yet while he spoke, his gaze strayed to the grimoire. A single-page corner fluttered, though no breeze stirred. Words glimmered again, just enough for Sam to glimpse another fragment. "Eston Persis. Lantra. Extinguish flame. Forever." A thrill ran through him, part fear, part forbidden mirth. What would Maester Aemon have said to such blasphemy? What would Daenerys Targaryen say? Dragons were the hinge upon which kingdoms turned. What scholar dared dream of snuffing their breath? And why? He slipped the grimoire beneath his cloak. Its chill seeped into him like melting snow. Gilly said nothing. Perhaps she thought it some medical tract. They descended quietly, candle stub cradled in Sam's hand. The corridors wound in narrowing coils as if the entire citadel was a single shell, spun by a monstrous snail that slept somewhere beneath. In the infirmary, Acolyte Bros dozed upon a stool, his head drooping over a stack of dried comfrey. Sam coaxed him awake, requested mint water cooled with crushed pearl barley. Abros obliged, yawning. While the draught steeped, Sam set the grimoire on a high shelf. Even then he felt its gravity tug upon his spine. The babe whimpered, drank the brew, and drifted into calm. Gilly's eyes softened, but an unease lingered. She watched Sam as though he had returned from battle, cloak singed at edges. "Thank you," she whispered. Sam nodded, yet words curdled on his tongue. He wanted to confess. About the letters, the chill, the promise of silent fire, and yet he could not. She would not understand the scholar's lure, the call of forbidden knowledge. Instead he smiled, eased her worries, and walked them back to their chamber. Only then, candle renewed, did Sam return to the scribe's keep. He sealed the heavy door behind him, drew every latch. The grimoire awaited upon the high shelf like a cat, judging a mouse. He breathed, opened it again. An hour sank away into ink and silence. Sam parsed the impossible grammar. Valyrian roots welded to Kiskari particles, an echo of a Ashai cadence slithering at line ends. It felt less a language than an incantation forced through the cracked lips of time. He copied slowly. "Not water quenches dragon flame," the text asserted, "nor stone, nor snow. Only the breath of the third moon." He scrawled questions in margins. What is the third moon? Not our moon. A hidden celestial? Or metaphor? The diagrams grew bolder. A dragon's head, jaws splayed, tongues of crimson curling outward, met by a spear of deepest black, its tip hollow, as if carved from shadows. Where the two met, scarlet bled into void. Flame collapsed into absence. In the emptiness, Valyrian glyphs declared, "Dor Perses, Issa. There is no fire." Sam felt sweat on his brow. He imagined a battlefield, Drogon wheeling overhead, belly blazing, then a figure raising this void spear, and the flames snuffed like a candle's soul. Dead silence. A dragon shrieking in disbelieving panic. Metal cooled. Scales dulled. The parchment beneath his quill wrinkled. He touched it, damp pot-eye. The air had grown clammy. Candlelight retreated from the walls, as though pressed back by invisible tides. Sam's ears rang. Somewhere distant, a bell tolled. At this hour the sound should be mellow, but it clanged like iron struck in a forge. He closed the book. Immediately warmth seeped back, though only a mite. He tucked notes away and paced the circumference of the high room, counting pillars, whispering prayers to the seven. On the 13th circuit, a peculiar drone reached him. Soft humming. No. Chanting, below, in one of the lesser stacks. Sam froze. Every novice should be abed. He descended the spiral stairs on cautious feet, lantern hooded. Between colonnades of slumbering books, he saw a glow. Not candle, not torch. Phosphorescent pulsing, like marrow-deep moonlight. He crept closer. A man in black robes knelt before a lectern, head bowed above an unfurled scroll. His voice spilled in sibilant currents, Valyrian phrases intertwined with something harsher. Sam recognized none of the man's features, only the chain at his throat. Links of lead, pewter, and glass. A maester, but of no standing Sam knew, for those links were seldom forged together. The robed figure's chanting stopped. He raised his head, and eyes caught lantern light. Pale as glacial runoff. "You smell of frost, novice," the man said. His accent twisted vowels as though chewing them. Sam held the lantern before him. "I, Samwell. Forgive me, Archmaester. I hold no Archmaester's office." The stranger smiled thinly. "My labors lie outside sigils and unlocks." He rose. The pale eyes never blinked. "You carry the book." Sam's heart skidded. "It is Citadel property, found in a shipping crate. I was cataloging for the day's inventory. The ledgers record no such arrival." The stranger took a single step. His black robe parted, revealing a burned link of reddy smudged iron. "Bloodsteel, forbidden." "I would see the book." Sam rallied enough to stand firm. "Citadel policy forbids removal from authorized study halls. If you wish, I can schedule." The man's fingers flexed, long and thin. "Show me, novice." Lantern glass fogged with Sam's breath. He swallowed. "First, your name. Your chain of office." "Memso." Names smother knowledge. The pale eyes glittered. "And office is a cage." Sam backed away, turned toward the stair. The robed man's feet whispered behind him. Sam gained the first step, then heard a hiss. Not from the stranger, from the walls. Dust cascaded as though something vast inhaled. He bolted upward. The pale man did not chase. Yet the hiss followed. Slithering into the stone, Sam reached the top, flung open the door, slammed the bolt. In that instant, the grimoire upon the table flared a dull emerald, pages rustling though windows stayed shut. He stood panting. Silence returned, but tenuous as cracked ice. Sam gathered quill, ink, scrap pages, then slid the grimoire into a leather satchel. He could not leave it here. Nor could he permit that stranger, whoever he was, to claim it. He blew out every candle, left only darkness. Through the black, he navigated by memory, heart beating drumquick. Outside, dawn hinted in the east, a violet bruise on the horizon. Sam hurried over narrow bridges between towers, footfalls echoing data. In the dormitory wing, novices stirred. He forced a calm expression, hid the satchel under plain cloak. Patty waved sleepily. Sam waved back, throat parched. He found Gilly asleep with the babe, sunrise kissing her cheek. For a moment, the world narrowed to that gentle scene. But the satchel weighed heavy. He set it atop his own cot, covered by a patched blanket. He would rest quick, then seek answers in safer daylight. Archmaester Marwyn, perhaps. The rum-kindled old wizard always spoke of secrets the other maesters feared. If the book concerned Dragonfire, and if dragons had returned to the world, then Marwyn would know its worth, and its peril. Sam slumped onto straw mattress. Images drifted behind his lids. A dragon coiled in ash. A spear of shadow. Pale eyes in darkness. He drifted half into sleep, and dreamt of black snow falling across a burned field. At its center, 3 dragons lay wing-wrapped, silent, their fires gone. And above them, a 4th moon carved from shadow hung in a sky without dawn. That morning, clouds smothered the sun. Old Town's rooftops glistened with dew, yet the air carried a chalkerdry edge. Sam washed, dressed, and slung the satchel before venturing to the Ravenry, where Marwyn kept court among Cause and Guano. Archmaester Marwyn the Mage was a squat man. Heavy-jowled, eyes bright as polished jet behind a tangle of beard. He wore no standard chain. Instead, rings of base metals and stranger alloys clinked upon his chest. When Sam approached, Marwyn was stuffing dried lizard into the beak of a red-guyed raven. "Samwell Tarly," he rumbled, voice thick as Mirish molasses. "You look as one who cracked a dragon's egg and found himself mother." Sam swallowed. "Archmaester, I need your discretion. You have it until you prove dull." Marwyn waved off a novice and nodded toward a stone bench. "Speak." Sam set the satchel between them, opened the clasp. The moment the grimoire tasted air, a gust rippled through the Ravenry. Ravens rising in agitation, wings flapping. Marwyn's black brows lifted. "Valyrian?" he asked. "Older," Sam replied. "I traced references to Ashai's cipher. Look, where ink turns iridescent." Marwyn lifted the book by spine. Ravens settled upon rafters, staring. The Archmaester turned 2 pages, 3, then grunted. "You read this?" "Partly." Sam recited the fragments he'd translated. As he spoke, Marwyn's eyes narrowed to flint. "At least one line is curse work," Marwyn said. "Who else knows?" "A cloaked man," Sam whispered, "with links of lead, pewter, glass, and bloodsteel." Marwyn's beard twitched. "Then the glass candle burns brighter than I feared." His gaze pierced Sam. "Old powers stir, lad. Daenerys Stormborn hatches dragons across the world's navel. The night gathers in the north. Such a grimoire?" "Some may wish it buried. Others," he wrapped the cover, "would kill to wield it." Sam's stomach lurched. "Is it truly possible? To extinguish Dragonfire?" Marwyn shrugged, a gesture like mountains shifting. "Words are wind until matched to will and vessel. But Valyrians twisted the world's bones before the doom. Nothing is beyond imagining." Thunder muttered beyond open archways. Dark clouds thickened, promising storm. Marwyn's ravens croaked uneasily, as though the sky itself read Sam's dread. Marwyn closed the book, but glimmers passed over the leather, sigils swimming up from hide, then sinking again. "If the mage's key fits this lock, we might unravel it." Sam frowned. "Mage's key?" Marwyn produced a shard of smoked glass, hexagonal, no longer than a finger, edges razor-fine. When dragons breathed upon old Valyria, windows of fused stone warped into secrets. Such glass drinks more than light. He pressed the shard against the grimoire's cover. Faint lines flared, maps of unknown coastlines, constellations crooked at odd angles. Incredible. "Incredible," Sam breathed. "Inconvenient," Marwyn muttered. "This invites more hunters. And there is little time." A novice scurried up with a parchment roll. "Archmaester, a raven from Dragonstone." Marwyn cracked the seal, eyes bouncing. He eyed Sam. "Daenerys sails for Westeros. Dragons winging at starboard." "And he?" Sam's pulse surged. "Dragons flying nearer. A tome promising their undoing lies in his hands. Fate coiled like a serpent." Marwyn paced. Chain clinking. "Samwell, you have a choice. Deliver this to those who bury it forever." He jerked his chin westward, toward the storied vaults. "Or ride with me to meet the Dragon Queen, to study fire at its source." Sam's mind raced. The stranger in black still lurked the stacks, perhaps seeking even now. The babe's fever returned in memory. And beyond, the wall, Jon Snow, the dead walking. Sam clenched fists. Knowledge served the living. Yet power, untamed, devoured all. Marwyn waited, eyes gleaming. Ravens croaked overhead, a chorus of blackened bells. Rain began to fall, pattering upon the ledge in soft arrhythmic taps, as though the world's pulse counted down. Sam drew breath. The path ahead forked into shadows, each rife with peril. But he could not unlearn what he had read, nor unfeel the chill. He met Marwyn's gaze and gave answer, and the storm found its voice in thunder so sharp it stole the words from the wind. "Ah, Kai." A single heartbeat passed, one that seemed to shudder through the damp air of the Ravenry and rebound off every stone of the citadel, before Samwell found his voice again. "I have to protect the living," he said softly at first, then with firmer resolve that surprised even him. "If dragons are killed, the dead will sweep the north. But if dragons live unchecked, men will burn beneath their wings. I have to know what this book truly does. I have to know, so we can choose the lesser doom." Marwyn's beard parted in a grin, spoken like a scholar of the higher mysteries. "Good. We ride with dusk's tide." "Ben? Ride? To where?" "To a fast galley I keep moored beyond whispering sound." The Archmaester rumbled, while tucking the grimoire beneath a rust-colored oilskin. "Its captain is a drunk who owes me 3 lives. He'll row us south round Dorne to Slaver's Bay, unless Daenerys makes landfall sooner, in which case we turn north. Either way, you're leaving Old Town before the sun sets again." Sam's breath hitched. He thought of Gilly and the babe, of the hearth in their small chamber, of novice lectures he still hadn't finished. He thought, too, of Jon's voice echoing across black stone at the top of Castle Black. "The world we need is one where children do not freeze to death while old men argue whose right it is to build a fire." This mission, though terrible, smelled very much like building a fire. "I have to speak with Gilly," Sam insisted. Marwyn waved a hand. "You'll have hours yet. Pack your ink and quills. Leave the chains behind. Iron drags one down in water and in magic both." He lifted a lamp thick with soot and pressed it to Sam's palm. "Keep this. The flame is fed with rare oils. It won't blow out easy, and when it gutters, it will warn you something unnatural is close." "Bem?" Sam cradled the lamp as if it were an infant star. "Warn me of what?" "We are sailing into storms no maester's glass has ever foreseen," said Marwyn, rolling his sleeve to reveal a scar running wrist to elbow, puckered and shiny in the gloom. "Trust the tools that glow, not the men who do." Thunder growled again nearer, as if disagreeing with their haste. Marwyn uncoupled a weather-worn rucksack from a peg, thrusting spare parchment, small bone knives, measuring cords, and a half-empty flask of firewine inside. The swift decisiveness of his movements left no space for doubt. Sam backed from the Ravenry, almost bumping into a raven with mismatched eyes, one coal black, the other milky white. The bird croaked a single note that seemed to hang in the air like a frozen tear before flapping to a higher perch. Down spiraling stairs Sam fled, heart thrumming like a smith's hammer. Every corridor looked suddenly alien, too long, torches flickering too blue, shadows deep enough to drown in. When he reached the novice's quarters, Pate was awake, yawning over a bowl of rye mush. "Where were you last night?" Pate asked through a mouthful. "Heard some ghost stories about the scribe's keep. Moving lights and such, Dino." Sam forced a smile. "Cataloging crates. You know how the acolytes leave work unfinished." Pate shook his head. "Not with that look in your eyes, Tarly. Heard some of those crates came from Volantis. Suppose they found black candles inside?" "Million." Sam's grip tightened around the lamp's base. "I wouldn't know." He hurried past before Pate could prod further, ducking into the small chamber he shared with Gilly. She sat cross-legged on the pallet, brushing little Sam's wisps of hair. Color had returned to the babe's cheeks. Relief washed through Sam so fiercely he nearly dropped the lamp. "You were gone again," Gilly said softly, but without accusation. "Hey, there's news from Jon," he lied. Her eyes widened with hope. "He still lives." "He does." This part was true. "And he fights for us all." "Gilly, I must go for a time. By sea." Archmaester Marwyn thinks there are answers I can bring back to John, to all of us. Thou. Her fingers paused. Will it be dangerous? Sam tried to steady his breath. Very. But not going would be worse. She looked down at the child. I've crossed ghosts and wildlings and stone men to stand here with you. I won't stop now, though my knees quake. She rose, wrapped arms around Sam, lamp trapped between them. Come back or send word. I'll watch over our boy. A sharp rap sounded at the doorframe. Elorus the Sphinx leaned in, eyes bright. Marwyn's pet galley weighs anchor at second bell, he said. Best be on her, Samwell. I'll say you ran errands to Old Town's harbor stores if Archmaester Ebrose comes sniffing. Sam's gratitude felt like a lump in his throat. Elorus winked, flicked a silver coin across his knuckles, and vanished. Rain drummed upon the stone streets as the sky darkened to pewter. Sam, Marwyn, and Elorus trudged through mud. Hoods pulled low. Behind them, spires of the high tower pierced the black clouds like accusatory spears. Ahead, the harbor masts swayed, sounding low groans as though the fleet dreaded what the night harbored. Dockhands staggered past hauling casks of olive oil and bales of spiced wool. Sailors cursed the swell. Yet amid the bustle, Sam spotted the black-clad stranger from the library, standing motionless beneath a torn pennant, robes slick with rain, hood obscuring pale eyes. Sam's lungs stopped. Marwyn noticed his halt. Keep walking. He's here. Sam whispered. He wants the book. He can want. Marwyn's hand disappeared beneath his cloak. The Archmaester ushered Sam forward, pace never quickening enough to betray urgency. Elorus melted into alley shadows, no doubt circling like a cat archer. They crossed a narrow gangway onto Marwyn's galley, the horned Arolor, her bow carved into a great stag whose antlers twisted into flame. Crew of mixed tongue and tattoo-hauled lines. Captain Dorio, a squat Lyseni with a red nose, spat at the storm. We slip the lee tonight? He growled. We slip 12 tides of doom if you can, Marwyn retorted, coins clinking into Dorio's palm. No customs, no declarations. A mage. Sam ducked beneath the boom as sailors hoisted a tan-patched lateen. He clutched the lamp while rain stung his cheeks. Through sheets of water he saw the pale stranger stride onto the wharf, his head tilted as though sniffing for prey. Another figure joined him, tall, wearing catskin gloves, face swallowed by a plague doctor mask of lacquered bone. Atop the mask, a single red eye painted in the brow. Marwyn shoved Sam toward the stairwell. Below, guard the book. Flames hissed as the captain's mate set a brazier alight near stern. The horned lure eased from berth, creaking. Sam descended into a hatch that smelled of salt, pitch, and stale cloves. The cabin allotted to him was scarcely larger than a prison cell. Hammock, bolt chest, porthole. Lightning flashed, illuminating rope seams and mouse-gnawed biscuits in a jar. He slumped upon the hammock and exhaled. Despite fear, a sliver of wonder stirred. He was leaving Old Town, leaving the known world, to chase dragons and ice. Sam unlatched the satchel. The Grimoire's leather felt colder than before, as though the sea air enraged it. He drew it halfway, then stopped. The lamp he'd set on a barrel guttered, flame lengthening like a serpent tasting the air. Marwyn's warning pricked him. When it gutters, it will warn you. Wind roared above deck, but the cabin's hatch was shut. No draft should disturb the lamp. Yet its flame bowed eastward, toward the porthole. Sam braced, crossed to peer outside. Dock lanterns flashed in the distance, then winked out, one after another, as if swallowed by unseen jaws. Shadows undulated along the wharf. The pale stranger raised a gloved hand. The plague mask figure held a rod, capped with a blue crystal that pulsed in answer, like a heart beneath fractured ice. A cord of cold shot through Sam's chest. He spun, slipped the grimoire back into satchel, then rummaged for his dagger. Small, dull, but steel. He slid it onto belt. The cabin suddenly felt narrower, air laden with unseen mold spores. He clenched the lamp. A scraping sound drifted from the corridor. Then a soft click, as if claws tapped wooden planks. He tiptoed to the door, pressed ear. Silence. A silence louder than waves. Sam eased the latch. In the corridor stood a girl no more than 10, hair curly, skin the color of polished ash wood. She wore sailor breeches and a tunic, too large, cinched with rope. One eye glinted silver in the lamplight. The other was milky, blind. She regarded Sam with solemn curiosity. "Who are you?" Sam whispered, half expecting her to burst into mist. "Lena," she said, voice steady. "Cabin girl. The mage told me fetch you when he says." Sam exhaled. "Here I am." Her blind eye rolled up. "The mage says his glass shows black wings the size of towers gliding south. He says you must read the book now, so we know if we face living mountain or dying sun." "Me." Sam's pulse thundered. "I need him here to guide me." "He's guiding a sword and bow above." Lana reached to touch the lamp. Her finger dipped into flame without harm. The fire burned violet for a breath, then returned to yellow. She withdrew, unfazed, not even soot on fingertip. The deck lights die. Trouble climbs our ropes. Climbs? Sam rushed to the porthole again. Figures were indeed crawling spider-like up anchor chains. 3, 4. Rain-slick shapes in midnight leather, their faces covered in metal masks bearing no holes. They used curved sickles to hook the timber. Moon's weak glow revealed ropes of sigils, embroidered in corpse-green thread. Sam swallowed. He had no illusions about fighting assassins. He opened the satchel, yanked the grimoire free, and flipped pages until the diagrams of extinguished fire reappeared. Ink pulsed as if drumming to a hidden heartbeat. "Help me, Seven," Sam murmured. But prayer felt flimsy in this hollow below-deck corridor. The lamp flickered again, drooping crimson. Cold bled through cabin walls. Lana stared, unafraid. "I'll read," Sam decided. "But I need focus." "I'll watch the stairs," the girl offered. "The first foot that descends." "I'll sing." "Sing?" "That's how the mage taught me to warn. Scream wastes breath." Sam nodded and retreated into the cabin, slamming door. He set the lamp on the barrel and spread parchment. Rain hammered the deck, but the drumming slowed to a dull hollow beat, like horse hooves underwater. He translated, scrawling on scraps. "The third breath is silence, drawn from a dying winter star. Gather its light upon a mirror of obsidian and splinter it into 5 shards. Bind each shard with spine ash of a dragon yet unborn." Sam paused. Spine ash of a dragon yet unborn? Impossible. Or metaphorical? Dragon eggs turn to ash? Next lines. "Steep in blood of the binder until the shards drown. At Mu's zenith raise them to the breath of the third moon, exhale frost, and name the fire that will be unmade." Ink smeared where his quill lingered. The lamp's flame curled sideways again, toward the door. He froze. No song yet from Lana. But the flame saw something. He held his breath. A faint scraping like metal to wood slithered along the outer hull. Intruders traversing to a porthole. Sam tucked the pages beneath the grimoire. He eyed the barrel, sealed but not overly heavy. He heaved it to block the door. Heart pounding, then knelt and pressed ear to planks. Dampness seeped through his breeches. Steps halted outside. A low whisper in Valyrian. "Theory, Arbagan." "Break, open Didi." A soft hiss followed. Then silence. Sam's muscles locked. He slid the dagger free, though his hand trembled so violently its point danced like a leaf. He stared at the lamp. The flame had shrunk, a thin blue needle. Another of Marwyn's warnings. If it died, something other walked. Wind howled. The galley tilted. Sam clutched a beam. Crates clattered somewhere aft. Distant shouts. "Boarders, draw steel." Captain Dorio's shrill curses mingled with muffled twangs of bowstrings. Aluris must be shooting. The door latch lifted once, twice, but the barrel held. A dull thud followed. Someone testing weight. Then a new sound. Whine of a small saw. They would cut through. Sam's breathing came in short gasps. He looked to the grimoire. Pages fluttered though there was no breeze. The ink shifted, letters rearranging into a single phrase he hadn't read before. Speak me true, I swallow flame. Sam blinked. Had he miscopied? The line wasn't on any prior page. Yet there it was, glowing faint green. A crash shook the cabin as something heavy slammed the door. The barrel rolled half a foot. Sam gripped the grimoire with both hands. Speak me true, he whispered, lips tingling. Fear loosened his tongue until Valyrian spilled unbidden. Nike druta, Isaros, poel vala glason. I seek the silence, ancient one. Yield me the fire's grave. The lamp's flame leapt tall, vivid emerald. The cabin plunged into unnatural hush. Even the surf grew mute. Sam's ears rang in vacuum. The door exploded inward. Splinters sprang. A masked figure tumbled through, twin daggers gleaming dull silver. Yet in the green glow the assassin's feet skidded on slick planks, arms faltering. The daggers' blades smoked, metal blackening as frost bloomed along their length. The assassin hissed, every motion slowed as though wading through molasses. Sam felt the air congeal, thick with icy mist crawling from the lamp. The assassin lunged, but their leap became a crawl. Sam stepped aside almost leisurely, swinging the satchel like a flail. Leather connected with the assassin's temple. The figure toppled, striking crate corner. Bones cracked. As blood pooled, steam rose, not warm, but freezing vapor. The assassin convulsed, eyes glassing. Sam stared aghast. He hadn't meant for that. The lamp's flame wavered, then returned to yellow. Sound rushed back. Clatter of swords on deck, men shouting. Sam's heartbeat roared. He ran to the corridor. Lena crouched by the stairwell, humming tunelessly. An arrow protruded from her shoulder, yet she appeared numb to pain. Gods. Sam dropped beside her. You're hurt. Singed. She muttered, allowing him to break the arrow's shaft. Mage said injury is knowledge owed. He bound the wound with strip torn from his sleeve, then helped her stand. Footsteps thudded above. A scream ended abruptly. Sam clenched the dagger. We need Marwyn, he said. He needs us, Lena replied calmly, blinking her silver eye. False maesters brought black sleep stones. They crumble fire. Sam swallowed and handed her the lamp. Keep that lit. He slung the satchel secure and climbed to deck. Rain lashed, mingled with seawater spraying over gunwale. Lanterns shattered everywhere, leaving only pale phosphorescence from the storm-swollen clouds. Sailors fought masked boarders amid tangled rigging. Alaras balanced on the traveler beam, bow loosing shafts faster than sight. Each arrow found throat or eye slit. But for every intruder slain, another emerged from the sea, climbing nets with eel agility. Marwyn stood at the helm post, wielding a hook staff of weirwood capped with obsidian. He chanted in Rhoynish. Each word forged a ring of red light that spun about him before streaking into attackers. Where it struck masks, metal melted like wax. Sam raced to him. Two assassins lunged at his flank. Sam shoved a sailor's crate into their legs. They tumbled, but one slashed upward, scoring Sam's thigh. Pain burst. He stumbled but held the satchel aloft. The book works, he gasped. It froze a blade. Not the book, Marwyn said, voice thunder loud amid gale. You. He swung his staff, smashing a mask. It answers blood, not ink. Sam stared, disbelieving. I spoke. The lamp. Your fright fed it. Marwyn's eyes caught lightning flash, pupils reflecting green fury. Hold that fear close, Samwell. We'll need it. A roar overhead cut the night. Not thunder. Something else. Sam followed Marwyn's gaze skyward. Against storm clouds flew a form vast as city gates, the shape of a dragon, wings beating titanic, scales reflecting starlight, yet wrong. Smoke gray, edges ragged, like a tapestry burnt, then rewoven. Its maw opened. A gout of flame the color of bruised peaches spilled onto the sea, turning waves to steam. Sam's mouth dried. That isn't Drogon. No, Marwyn agreed. That's Varux. A dragon of Essos, rumored dead 20 years. Someone has roused him. The assassins faltered, glancing upward. One shrieked a prayer to the red god. Alaras landed amidship and knocked an arrow tipped with bronze broadhead. But against that mountain of burning bone, arrows were straws. Marwyn barked at Dorio. Turn south by east, full. The captain hesitated until Marwyn's obsidian staff cracked the railing beside his head. Dorio bellowed orders. Sailors trimmed sail even as embers rained. Sam clutched the satchel. The book inside thrummed. Warm now. Letters prickled against leather like living braille. He realized the Grimoire was hungry. The dragon's flame struck water yards abaft, sending geyser of boiling brine skyward. Spray scalded Sam's face. Screams erupted as a sailor fell dissolving. Uruks wheeled for second pass. Marwyn fixed Sam with fierce glare. Open it. What? Here? The spell, boy. We must learn if the breath can smother that fire before it kills us. Sam's nerves shrieked, but he unslung the satchel. Wind snapped pages the moment he cracked the binding. Symbols flared across parchment, spiraling outward off the page, forming ghostly rings that circled Sam's wrists. The lamp flame soared bright green at Lana's side below decks. Sam felt its echo through deck planks. Words not his own spilled from his lips. Muñez aldrozo endas, estaton persis. Mother of dragons, surrender thy flame. Air temperature plummeted. Frost crackled across wet boards, racing outward in whirls. Sailors yelped as boots slipped. The rings of light rose above Sam, forming translucent sphere overhead. Uruk screeched, plunging. His belly furnace glowed molten white. Flame hurtled toward the galley. Sam screamed final phrase. Nikola Vizos Yorielsa. Night's moon devours. The sphere blossomed upward, a dome of pale mint radiance. Dragonfire smashed into it, then guttered like a torch pressed beneath isomelt. The flame vanished, sucked inward to a single thread of ember that twined around Sam's torso and vanished into the grimoire's pages. The dragon shrieked confusion, wings buffeting. Yet the victory was partial. The effort tore through Sam like lightning. He collapsed to knees. The frost dome shattered with cracking sound. Shards dissolving to mist. The grimoire snapped closed of its own accord, binding sizzling heat inside. Smoke rose from its spine. Farouk's banked upward, but now his chest scales glimmered dimmer, as though the heart fire within flickered uncertain. Marwyn shouted commands. Oars! Make distance before he spews again. Assassins tried renewing their attack, but wind howled, flinging them overboard. Alaras leapt to deck, catching Sam before he pitched face first onto icy planks. You did it, the Sphinx marveled. Sam's vision doubled. Not for long. He blinked, seeing twin images of Marwyn rallying crew, of Lana emerging wide-eyed with glowing lamp. Marwyn knelt. Any page that holds such power exacts a price. How strong do you feel? Like I swallowed the wall, and it's melting in my belly. Sam croaked. Marwyn supported him. That was half-formed. The full ritual could drain gods. Lightning forked behind Varuk's dot. On the wharf, pale-hooded stranger raised both hands, issuing guttural chant. From his palm burst filaments of blue light that snared the dragon's limbs like marionette strings. Varux reeled, hauled toward the harbor towers. Dragon-bound, Marwyn spat. They are forcing him to their will. Those masks hide warlocks, not mere knives. Alaras fitted a dark arrow. Shall I sever their strings? Waste not shaft, Marwyn muttered. Samwell, the book is ours for now. But they will hunt boat to end of world. We flee south, then cut east under Qarth Star, lose them in Jade sea storms. What say you? Bendawal. Sam licked, cracked lips. They'll follow the book's scent. The mage in black. He said names, smother knowledge. If we keep the grimoire, everyone who touches it will die. Marwyn smirked. Show me man who didn't die eventually. He rose. Come. Warm broth. Then sleep. Tomorrow I teach you the rite of fourfold mirrors. With it, the pages open deeper. They sailed 2 days under relentless skies. The horned Rallalore hugged coasts, then darted through fog thick as sheep's wool. Crew muttered of ghosts. Dorio drank his weight in firewine. Farouk's silhouette stalked horizon but never attacked again. Perhaps the puppeteer needed ground underfoot for full control. Sam spent hours in Marwan's stern cabin. Walls hung with maps rendered on tanned kraken skin, shelves holding crystals that glowed when angered. Lana perched by window, stitching torn sailcloth, humming broken melodies. Alares cleaned arrowheads with oil that smelled of lilac and wormwood. Marwan spread 4 mirrors of black glass upon the table, each angled toward the grimoire in center. He taught Sam incantations melding Valyrian verbs with strange monosyllables older than rivers. 8th recitation, Marwan warned. Do not look into the mirrors. They show futures yet unlived. Sam complied. He chanted, voice wavering. Le kiri e druta, gelsi dronvoze. Silence unsung. Open the gates. Mirrors trembled. The grimoire rustled like a restless animal. Ink seeped through parchment edges, pooling on tabletop before coalescing into 3-dimensional sigils, spinning slowly. Sam dared glance at one mirror, caught a shard of image. Jon Snow, standing in hall of crumbling ice, eyes rimmed with flame. Sam jerked his head away, heart lurching. The sigils converged into a single emblem, a ring of silver devouring a ring of red. Letters spelled, Frizazor, Valyrian for Frostfire. A paradox. Marwan grunted satisfaction. Now we test binding vessel. Bone or crystal? Sam struggled to steady breath. Without dragon spine ash, we cannot finish the ritual, correct? For full extinguishment, aye. But partial stifling, like you wrought on Varyx, requires something else, a heart that remembers fear stronger than flame. Marwan's stare bored into Sam. Your fear could fuel many castings before you break. Sam shuddered. What happens when I break? Ask again. After it happens. Marwan turned away, pouring 2 cups of leaf-steeped broth. Drink. He handed Sam a cup. As Sam sipped, warmth spread, easing tremors. The broth tasted of meerroot and black honey. A bell clanged above deck. Lookouts cry. Sail abeam. Black hull bearing east. They rushed topside. Through dissipating fog emerged a sloop of sleek midnight planks. Sails dyed indigo. Its prow bore a figurehead of a woman with face split in half, one side beautiful, other a skull. On quarterdeck, pale-hooded strangers stood alongside the plague-masked warlock. Between them spun an orb of swirling sapphire fire. Dorio cursed. They dog us like fleas. Alares knocked, arrow. Marwan seized Sam's wrist. We might outrun with wind shift, but they conjure storms. A simpler gambit. Let them come. Sam's eyes widened. You want them aboard? Exposing their throats easier than running. Marwan looked to Alares. The Sphinx guards stern with bow of oil-soaked cloth. Lana, fetch the shining rope. Moments later, the sloop drew alongside. Pirates hurling hooks. Sam's pulse hammered at his temples. The wind carried the warlock's chant. Isaros mor began. Your silence will open. Hooks caught rails. Boarders swarmed. Marwan chanted counter-verses, red rings flashing. Alares loosed arrows lit with pitch. They stabbed sails, igniting into sheets of fire. Sam planted amidships, book clutched. A cloaked assassin advanced, spinning twin sickles. Sam raised the grimoire like a shield, shouting fragmentary words. Frost spiraled from leather, but weaker than before. Fear dulled with wear. The assassin kicked Sam's stomach, sending him sprawling. The book skidded across deck. Pain shot through Sam's ribs. The assassin closed in, blade raised. Then Lana leaped from rigging, shining rope in hand. She whipped it. The rope emitted blinding flare like molten silver, wrapping assassin's throat. With a jerk, she yanked him overboard, where shadows undersea churned. Sam crawled to retrieve book. The warlock landed upon deck, plague mask glinting. Blue fire orb hovered above his palm. He extended skeletal fingers, and the orb shot tendrils that lashed mast, sails, men. Wood hissed, turning to glass where touched. Marwyn charged, staff humming. He swung. Orb deflected with shower of sparks. Warlock hissed in unknown tongue. The grimoire pulsed hot. Sam felt it call. He opened page where sigils spun. The orb's light dimmed slightly as if drawn. "Keep it engaged," Marwyn shouted. "Drain him." Sam read lines aloud, voice cracking. A funnel of green frost rose, twining around blue fire. Colors battled, swirling into vortex of bruised teal. Wind howled. The warlock staggered, plague mask cracking. Beneath mask gleamed a face tattooed in comets, eyes blazing unnatural cobalt. He shrieked. Sound like iron scraping soul. The funnel collapsed inward, dragging blue orb into book. Pages snapped shut with thunderclap. Silence fell, save crackle of burning sailcloth. The warlock crumpled, body hollow like collapsed wineskin. Crew stared, awestruck. The pale stranger on sloop's deck, linked to warlock by rund cord, recoiled as cord severed. He cut line, stepped back into shadows. The sloop lurched, drew away under torn sails. Marwyn breathed heavy, sweat beading brow. "Well played, Samwell. You're faster at murder than study." Sam shook. "I didn't mean..." I read. Knowledge kills more swiftly than swords." Marwyn fetched wineskin, forced Sam to sip. "Rest." Dawn gives clearer counsel. 3 more days haunted by pursuit, but no further attack. South of Stepstones, they angled east across Summer Sea, where sapphire waters mirrored cloudless sky. Yet, Sam slept poorly. Each dream formed a mosaic. Dragons screaming, snow burning, Gilly's face behind bars of black glass. One dawn, Lana woke Sam. Mage says read again. Page 34. Sam rose, heart leaden. He sat on deck, breeze warm for once. Page 34 revealed only blank parchment at first. Then slowly, words bled up. "When frost devours fire, echoes birth the cinder. Beware ashes, embers dreaming new flame. One death births another." Sam's chest tightened. Extinguishing Dragonfire might sow something worse. He hurried to Marwyn. The Archmaester sat cross-legged at prow, staff across knees, staring into sunrise. Sam read the warning. Marwyn pondered. "Balance," he mused. "Kill fire and cold rains. Snuff cold and fire consumes. The book may teach stasis, not victory." Sam recalled Hardhome. Shrieks in snow. What if Night King learns this spell? The living would lose dragons and fire both. Marwyn's gaze hardened. "Then we must decide who holds the final page. Perhaps no one." He motioned for Sam to sit. "Listen. Long ago, Valyrians warred with Shadowbinders of Ashai. Both sought final dominion of elements. Legend says they forged twin tomes. One to command flame, one to silence it. You hold the latter. If its twin surfaces, war devours all." "None?" Sam rubbed temples. "Can we destroy the book? Only where the world's bones are soft. Inside a volcano's heart or a dragon's belly." Marwyn smirked. "Find me a willing dragon." Sam half laughed, half groaned. Daenerys dragons might listen to her, or burn her for insult. Marwyn rose. "Sails ahead. Kiskari make. We approach Slaver's Bay. If rumors hold, Daenerys camps near Meereen. Ready yourself." "Nah." A coil of anticipation wound through Sam. He pictured Dragon Queen, breaker of chains, facing a tome that could kill her children. Would she trust strangers? Would Sam be forced to choose between Jon's war and her crusade? As sun climbed, the Horned Lord glided toward coastlines scarred by war. Harbor piers blasted. Pyramids blackened. Fields salted. Smoke pillars wavered behind city walls. Above them, 2 dragons patrolled. One green, one cream, wings painting the sky with living banners. Sam's throat closed in wonder. A horn sounded starboard, patrol ship bearing Targaryen banner. 3 heads crimson on black. Minutes later, a skiff rowed across, bristling with unsullied spears. Its commander, half-face scarred woman named Kusar, demanded identities. Marwyn presented a gem-sealed scroll. Kusar scanned it, then eyed Sam. The Silver Queen grants audience at dusk. Sam's legs threatened to buckle. He clutched satchel. Pages rustled like restless rats. He felt the book's hunger again. Shifted toward coastline where dragons roared. Maraine's great pyramid loomed, its scars roughly patched. New banners snapping. Red wyvern upon pale field, symbol of liberation. Inside throne room, Daenerys Targaryen sat upon dais of carved basalt, torchlight gleaming from silver-gold hair. To her right stood Tyrion Lannister, eyes calculating. To her left, Missandei and Grey Worm. At foot of dais coiled Drogon, vast, black, eyes ember bright. His siblings circled outside. Sam bowed clumsily. Sweat dampened small clothes. The grimoire pulsed steady as a funeral drum. Marwyn spoke in booming Rhoynish. Switching to Valyrian, he explained Sam's rescue at Night's Watch, the tome's appearance, the pale warlocks. He emphasized threat to dragons and to war against dead. Tyrion listened, frown deepening. Daenerys raised hand. "Show me this doom." Sam approached, every instinct screaming. Drogon's eyes tracked him. Smoke curled from nostrils. He set the grimoire on obsidian table. Pages fluttered open, unbidden to diagrams of fire devoured. The room grew colder. Torches dimmed. Drogon rumbled warning. Grey Worm's hand fell to spear. Tyrion stepped closer, studying. Daenerys descended dais, gaze fixed on living pages. "What does it ask?" she whispered. Sam swallowed. "A choice. To smother flame, or let it burn unchecked. My queen, I fear the balance." Daenerys placed hand upon book. It hissed, steam rising. She did not flinch. "All my life, men have tried to seize my dragons. This book is merely another chain. Chains are broken." She lifted hand. Pages blackened beneath scorched print of her palm. Letters wriggled, shrieking soundlessly. But the book did not ignite. Instead, frost rose, encasing her hand in thin rime. She jerked back, eyes wide. She flexed fingers. "Ice," she murmured. "An enemy's kiss." Sam stepped forward, heedless of protocol. "Your Grace, if the book cannot be burned by Dragonfire, perhaps it can be unmade only where fire and ice meet in one heart. That place is not here." "And where is it?" Tyrion asked, brow arched. "North," Sam said. "8, the wall. Or beyond." Daenerys considered. Queenly poise masked inner storm. Drogon huffed, flame dancing along teeth. Grey Worm announced. "Ships prepare to sail west at dawn. Queen cannot delay." Sam's mind whirled. "Then take me with you. I'll safeguard the book, study it where dragons keep watch." "Man," Tyrion tapped lip. "A maester in training and a mystic old man. Could be useful or dangerous." Daenerys' violet eyes settled on Sam. "Your fear shines bright, like steel fresh forged. I will allow you passage. But if that book whispers treachery, you feed it your tongue." Sam bowed low. "My life for the realm, Your Grace." Marwyn chuckled low. Fear and fire meet at last. That night, Sam stood upon the terrace of a guest chamber high in the pyramid. Dragons soared under starlight, their cries echoing ancient promise. Below, freedmen sang work songs, the city tentative in peace. Sam opened porthole, letting warm breeze stroke pages again. He stared at words describing frostfire. They glowed faint, dancing like twin serpents. He traced them with quill, copying onto fresh sheet for study. A line he hadn't noticed emerged. Should frost conquer flame, day shall die forever. Should flame consume frost, night undying devours. Balance indeed. Sam closed book, sealing pages. He whispered into darkness, "John, I'm coming." For he sensed threads converging. Dragons, dead, and one lost son of ice and fire. Somewhere in that knot lay final choice. Behind him, Lana, lamp in hand, flame violet. She set it beside him without word. Together they watched dragons paint silver arcs across sky. Sam inhaled salt, smoke, jasmine. The path ahead would sear and freeze him alike. Yet he felt strangely calm, like standing between two giants poised to duel, knowing his small voice might shout the word that stays both killing blows. He touched the satchel's worn leather and whispered vow to keep both dragons and dawn alive. The night held no answer, only the distant thunder of wings and the hush of stars awaiting the coming storm. Morning unfurled crimson along horizon. The Targaryen fleet assembled beyond Meereen's breakwater. Great black galleys, Dornish dramans, Greyjoy longships with kraken prows. New alliances hammered in war's forge. Above masts, banners snapped. Three-headed dragon, sunspear and serpent. Golden kraken, falcon of Aaron. A living tapestry of hopes and grudges. On flagship, Wind's Grace, Sam stood amid crates of dried dates and dragonglass spearheads forged in island furnaces. Marwyn spoke with Tyrion near helm, trading metaphors about casks and demons. Gilly and the babe were far away in Old Town, but Sam felt them near inside his heartbeat. He slid the grimoire into hardened iron chest lined with wool and hung bronze lock. No chain could hold knowledge, yet he tried. Drums boomed, sails filled. Dragons shrieked overhead, casting colossal shadows across foam. Sam lifted gaze, watching suns spark upon their scales. Fire and frost danced in his memory. The fleet turned west, toward unknown collisions of destiny. As Meereen's walls faded astern, Samwell Tarly steadied himself, lamp clutched, fear honed into blade. Somewhere beyond horizon the Night King marshaled cold. Somewhere nearer, Queen of Dragons kindled fire. And between them sailed a fat boy who once cowered from father and blade alike, now bearer of words that could kill dragons, and maybe save them too. He murmured a line from the grimoire, half blessing, half curse. Light unmade, dark undone. Let dawn be forged anew. Sea spray kissed his cheeks like tears of gods. Wind's Grace surged forward. And high above, Drogon roared, not in challenge, but in acknowledgement of a journey begun, and of one frail man who now carried the weight of frost and flame within a single trembling heart. Oh, Kai. The Wind's Grace pressed through the summer sea, with a hiss of foam beneath her prow. Billowing sails fat with the breath of a persistent easterly. Decks creaked in slow rhythm, and the entire fleet answered in chorus. Hundreds of hulls murmuring like a forest in wind. Above them, Rhaegal and Valyrian wheeled wide-arcing patrols, while Drogon glided low as a black thunderhead skimming the waves. The snap of his wings echoed by the distant beat of drums aboard Dornish dramans. Samwell Tarly leaned against the weather rail amidships, chest still tight from the weight of the grimoire locked away below. The iron chest lay in the captain's cabin, triple barred and manned by two unsullied who never blinked nor spoke. Tyrion had insisted upon the guards after witnessing Page's, Frost Daenerys' palm. Marwyn had insisted they remain nothing but watchers. Any attempt to open or destroy the book without Sam's presence might invite a breach, whatever that meant. Sam suspected a breach looked very much like a tear in the world's skin. In the last 2 days he had slept seldom, spending waking hours copying fragments of the grimoire by lantern light, then scurrying to the forecastle whenever the dragons cried. Still half certain a sudden burst of warlock sorcery would rip them from the sky. Instead, the warlock sloop had slunk unseen, either destroyed or planning darker pursuit. Yet the omen of Aurochs, last glimpsed bound to the puppeteer's blue cords, gnawed. The assassins' corpses fed sharks in the Jade Sea, but their masters remained at large. A gull screamed overhead, startling Sam from his watch. He turned to find Alaris at his side. Sleek bow slung, eyes bright as burnished copper coins. The Sphinx grinned. "Counting waves, Samwell? Counting fears," Sam muttered, gaze full of whitecaps. Alaris laughed softly. "A sound pastime. But the mage sends for you, council in the aft castle, talk to D." Sam sighed and followed, boots slipping on damp planks. They passed sailors scrubbing decks with saltwater brushes, their work songs weaving Valyrian with summer tongue. The refrain lingered. Dragons dawn, darkness gone? Though Sam could not tell whether it was hope or hubris. The aft castle cabin smelled of pine resin and citrus polish, though undertones of ozone hinted Marwyn had resumed glass candle experiments. Lamps burned green, their flames impossibly still despite the ship's roll. Inside waited Marwyn, Tyrion, Grey Worm, and a dark-haired woman in riding leathers whom Sam knew only as Quintessa, advisor from Volantis and rumored Star Reader. Tyrion paced near a port-side table strewn with draft charts. He looked up. "Ah, our key arrives." Sam felt prickly under the dwarf's discerning stare. "You wanted me, my lord." Tyrion corrected gently. "Hands do not outrank books. Only borrow them." He gestured to a bronze-rimmed dish on the table. "We've had trouble." In the dish lay water. No, Sam realized it was polished obsidian, thin as ice, reflecting a swirl of images. Atop the mirror drifted 3 silvery motes. Marwyn pushed one with a stylus, and shapes coalesced. An outline of Westeros flickered, then zoomed to northern forests cloaked in ominous green. "Scout ravens," Marwyn explained. "My glass candle ties to their sight." One reached White Harbor an hour past, then fell. Blue flame burst from its throat. "Warlock work." Sam inhaled sharply. "So they've stolen a rookery?" "More," Quintessa said, voice low and lilting. "They twist any creature carrying breath. Birds, bats, perhaps direwolves next." Grey Worm's jaw flexed. "Why attack White Harbor?" Tyrion pointed to the map. "Because Manders treasure their docks, and Dany intends touchdown near the Manderley breakwater." A statement. He flicked motes apart. The image swirled stormier. If warlocks infect harbor ravens, they infect rumor. Dragons bring plague. Panic awaits us. Sam felt sick. "Can we warn Lord Manderley?" "Already sent swift bird," Tyrion answered. "But messages without dragons are easily believed. Dragons themselves. Harder." He turned to Sam. "The Grimoire might counter this blue fire. Could you?" "No." The response leapt from Sam, surprising him. He steadied breath. "You all saw. Using it once drained me half dead. It will not conjure again so soon. Not without something." He remembered Marwyn's talk of the binder's blood. "And whatever it takes would leave me in no state to help later." Marwyn nodded, arms folded like boulders on barrel chest. "He speaks truth. The book feasts on primal fear. Skirmishes waste it. Save for the Night King, or worse." Tyrion drummed fingers on hilt of a stiletto. "Then we need alternative theatrics. One suggestion. Let Samwell meet with Lord Manderley first, spin tale of scholarship. Charm him with ancestry talk. Meanwhile, Daenerys arrives, wings folded, banners bright. Soft approach. Then Derwai. S.E. Grey Worm stiffened. Queen walks into trap. "No," Quintessa cut in. "Queen sails upriver to Queenscove, lands by night, then rides dawn into White Harbor, flanked by unsullied and dragons at altitude. Manderley sees host, weighs loyalty." She turned dark eyes on Sam. "Your role is ferrying proof. Show Wyman Manderley that ice enemy moves. He will raise fattest banners in north." Sam swallowed. "What proof?" "The book," Marwyn rumbled. A glimpse of its page, an echo of Varroc's stolen flame. Enough to scare Manderley without freezing his liver. Sam's heart hammered. Is that wise? Tyrion sighed. Wise? Nothing here is wise, only necessary. Silence settled, broken by lantern crack. Sam sensed the decision set before him like a chessboard missing half its pieces. He pictured Gilly holding the babe, picture of gentle trust, and knew his shoulders would bear this weight or break. When do we reach White Harbor? He asked. 3 days with fair wind, Tyrion replied. Make ready. Those 3 days bled away in restless tasks. Sam studied translations, refining grammar of Fry's Ore, the Frost-Fire Paradox. He gleaned small truths. The ritual's heart demanded ghost water, crystallized memory of night sky trapped in obsidian. Marwyn claimed such stones existed only on a lonely island east of Sothorios, but Sam suspected the wall's black ice hummed with similar secrets. Then came mention of a third moon. Not literal, but the pale wanderer broken in ancient sky. Perhaps meaning the shattered fragments that some maesters called Dragonstone. Obsidian raining from heavens when a comet burst. Sam wondered whether he now sailed with shards of that very moon embedded in the Queen's birthright. At dusk of the second day, Sam stood below the mainmast. The ocean lay still, sky pink as a healing bruise. Rhaegal descended, wings cupping wind in silence. He alighted on the forward catapult frame, claws biting oak. His great green head lowered to deck level. Sailors scrambled away, but Sam remained frozen. Rhaegal's eyes, gold, slit-pupilled, fixed upon him. An inexplicable urge made Sam step forward. Air smelled of sulfur and cut grass. The dragon exhaled softly, not fire but steam. Its heat prickled Sam's cheeks. He half bowed. Your Gracie's brother might trust me if you do, he murmured. Behind footsteps clicked. Daenerys approached alone, silver hair unbound, simple riding cloak swirling. She halted at Sam's side. He smells the book, she said. Sam turned. And what does he sense? Threat, perhaps. Or kinfolk in chains. Then the brother. She reached to stroke Rhaegal's neck ridge. The dragon's eyelids fluttered. Dragons know fear, Daenerys continued. Eyes on Sam. They feel its shape in men. Yours tastes different, like morning frost instead of battlefield ash. Use that. Samwell Tarly, I will try, your grace. Her gaze softened. You love someone in Old Town. Sam's throat tightened. Yes, a woman named Gilly. And a child. Not my blood, but my heart. Daenerys smiled with a sadness. Then we share breath. Love anchors us, even among storms. She stepped away, calling in Valyrian. Rhaegal crouched, launched skyward, wings booming. Sam watched until green turned to evening star. Storm clouds rolled in on third dawn, trailing ragged skirts of lightning. The fleet scattered tight formation to navigate shoals off the Sisters. Wind's grace sliced black waters, masts groaning under reefed sail. North air bit sharper, and Sam felt prickle of winter creeping south with them, claw by claw. In his bunk Sam dreamed a vision. The Grimoire lay open upon endless plain of snow. Jon Snow knelt beside it, blood dripping from a wound at his side. Opposite, knelt Night King, eyes blue suns. Between them the book's pages fluttered, each turn birthing a blizzard that stifled Jon's torch and a wildfire that bubbled the ice under Night King's knees. Sam awoke gasping, mouth tasting copper. Evening of that day they reached White Harbor's outer lights, distant specks across gray gloom. Banners flew half-mast atop stone lighthouse. Something uneasy gnawed the harbor. Sam stood on forecastle with Quintessa and an escort of 8 unsullied in cloaks the color of cold iron. They transferred to a shallow-draft longboat, rowed by mute slaves freed yet loyal to Daenerys. The city loomed. Thick curtain wall, turrets heavy with crossbows. Behind, the new castle's sleek towers awaited. On the pier a reception formed. Wyman Manderley, great belly draped in seal fur mantle, flanked by tall daughter Winifred and knights with salmon badges of Blaintree. Sam recognized her from Jon's stories. a lady as adept with songs as spears. Sam stepped ashore. Heart drumming, he bowed. Lord Manderley, I am Samwell of House Tarley, sworn brother of the Night's Watch under Lord Commander. He caught himself. John had been murdered then revived. Titles uncertain. Who once served Lord Commander Jon Snow? I come bearing word from beyond seas. Wyman's eyes, sharp despite puffy lids, studied Sam. If you bring dragons, say so quick. My folk whisper of red skies. Sam swallowed. Dragons fly overhead, yes, but I bring warning more urgent. He produced parchment noting John's signature from earlier letters. Manderley's brow furrowed reading mention of whites on the long barrel. Then Sam drew small slate tablet etched with rune of Freisizar. Ink mixed with his own blood and ghost water teased from a sphere Marwyn loaned. The rune glowed faint blue in twilight. Winifred inhaled sharply. Sorcery. Proof, Sam said. Warlocks twisted by blue flame assault ravens, dragons, men. They mean to tear the north between ice and fire. We need White Harbor's ships and grain. My queen, Daenerys Stormborn, will treat. But first she lands in secret at Queenskov. Will you receive her? Manderley's jowls trembled. Stark wolves are my liege, but dragons, still strangers. Grain I can spare if coin returns. Ships, depends how many sink to my harbor's shoals. Sam risked step closer. My lord, winter hounds your walls. Gold cannot buy food when fields freeze. Dragons bring fire to your hearth and armies to your gate. Choose alliance now, not ransom later. Manderley studied the slate again. And warlocks? Sam unlatched a shuttered lantern prepared by Marwyn. Inside, green flame cast unnatural glow. He lifted lid. A frozen breeze swept across pier, extinguishing torches for 10 paces. The knights swore. Sam snapped lid closed. Warmth returned. The magic that blew your torches hounds my heels, Sam said hoarsely. Our only shield is knowledge, and we share it freely if you shelter us. Silence. Waves lapped stones. At last, Wyman chuckled, deep and rolling as a drum. A strange envoy. Fat as I, yet braver tongue than most sellswords. You have harbor and hearth, Samwell of the Watch. We'll meet your queen at dawn if she promises not to roast my ducks. Sam slumped relief. She promises if no arrow threatens her children. Wyman's mouth twisted. Crossbows stay leashed. North remembers courtesy. He gestured to Winifred. Show our guests to Newcastle's hall. Feed them cod and cider. Fetch scribes to draft accords. Sam allowed himself first full breath in hours. As they crossed drawbridge, he sensed eyes atop ramparts. Archers, fishermen, urchins, wide with fear and wonder. He prayed dragons would not break that wonder into terror. Night draped Newcastle in silver thread, moonlight painting courtyard cobbles. Sam sat before hearth and guest chamber, pen scratching treaties. Grain quotas, levy counts quartering for unsullied, repairs to city walls. Winifred sat opposite verifying totals, her maester's chain glinting. She paused. I lost brothers to Boltons, she said quietly. Snow avenged them. If these dragons guard him, my sword follows. Sam looked up. John lives, he'll need such friends. She smiled faintly. I hope your queen sees worth beneath our fat seals and fish smells. I believe she sees hearts first. Sam folded a cord. But hearts fail if warlocks spread plague. Have ravens behaved strangely? Some, Winifred admitted. A rook burst into blue flame last supper. We burned Tower Hay. She shivered. Cold fire. Sam massaged temples. If they strike again, damp cloths doused in brine may smother magic. Seems to feed on dry air. I'll tell rookery. A horn wailed from harbor. Single note, then again. Winifred frowned. Signal of unknown sail. Sam rose, queasy-eyed. They hurried to battlements. Torches spotted gloom. A single ship gliding swift. Sloop trimmed in indigo. prow carved in woman's split face. Warlock's vessel. Archers knocked arrows, but the sloop halted beyond ballista range. Anchor dropped. A lantern flashed 4 pulses blue, 2 pulses black dotty. Winifred did not know code. Sam did. Marwyn had shown. It spelled parley, Doherty. Before he could speak, lightning cracked sky. Yet no storm cloud. Blue bolt arced from sloop's mast, striking harbor water. Steam roared upward, forming dense fog that rolled toward piers like avalanche. "Get inside," Sam shouted. "Seal gates." But fog raced too fast. Within breaths, it lapped battlements, sucking warmth from stone. Guards coughed shards of ice. Sam felt frost bite eyelids. He turned to Winifred, lips numb. "Keep them from rookery." She nodded, sprinting. Sam's feet moved of own accord, descending stairs slick with rimed moss. Below, sailors screamed as fog swallowed them. Figures emerged, warlocks in masks of black glass. Robes rippling like oil, crystals crackling blue at fingertips. Sam yanked runed slate from satchel. It burned cold. He pressed it to damp cloth he wrapped around mouth, whispered line of the grimoire. Lantra, Ebra, Druta, Giore. Silent waters, devour breath. Slate pulsed. A wave of clear air parted fog in a narrow cone, gifting path forward. Sam barreled through. Unsullied ranks crashed halberds, but blades froze mid-swing were touched by blue aura. He reached base of harbor beacon where fog thinned. Atop beacon stood the pale-eyed stranger, cloak rippling. In one hand, he held a glass dagger. In other, marionette cords of glowing blue trailing into fog. Dragons shrieked somewhere above city, but mists muffled sound. Stranger spoke Valyrian accented by crackling ice. Silence's book kneels before its master. Sam raised slate. It kneels to none. Stranger smiled faint. Page 39. Read it. Sam's gut twisted. The stranger must have glimpsed pages. He stalled. Why should I? Because each breath you take now feeds Frostfire's seed, he said. Read, and you save the Fat Lord's kin. From fog came cry. Child's voice, terrified. Sam's skin crawled. Blue tendril curled around Manderly guard pulling boy by collar, dagger at throat. Sam's head swam. Pale stranger tilted chin. Red, or child freezes alive with lungful of blue grief. Sam knew trickery, yet he saw child's tears glaze into frost. He fumbled grimoire from satchel. Lock undone, pages whipped to 39. Blank eye. Stranger gestured. Ink bled up. Blood of the binder, breath of dragon's heart. Silence unsealed at gate of the dead. Speak name of flame, and Frostfire obeys. Sam trembled. Name of flame? Stranger extended glass dagger. Name is mine. Speak. Sigrian. Sam's vision blurred. Child whimpered as icy crust crawled cheeks. Sam saw Gilly's face, babe's fever, remembered promise to protect living. He felt ruined slate warm his palm. Balance. He inhaled briny air and in strong voice said, Sigrian. Fog deepened, roaring in ears. Dagger flared blue. Child stiffened. Sam finished phrase differently. Druta oberi. Silence devour. Slate exploded in argent burst, shredding cords, vaporizing blue tendrils. Child fell free, coughing. Fog recoiled violently like smoke sucked into vacuum. Pale stranger staggered. Sam clutched at last hope. He shouted words from page 21. Ones he had feared, Fraesazer scoriate. Frostfire reversed. Sphere of emerald and sapphire erupted around beacon, blasting warlocks across quay. Stone cracked from thermal shock. Harbor water boiled, then froze, then boiled again. Sound vanished. World filled with shimmering crystals swirling like snow inside a shaken globe. Inside sphere, stranger knelt, eyes wide with opposite forces colliding. Sam felt marrow freeze then blaze. A scream tore from him unheard. One warlock mask shattered. Blue light spurted out like soul escaping. Stranger regained footing, flicked hand. Glass dagger flew. Sam scarcely saw it before it pierced shoulder. Heatless fire coursed veins, numbing. Grimoire slipped from fingers, landing open on page ablaze with runes. Stranger lunged, but a roar split sphere. Drogon dove from sky, breaking barrier. His jaws snapped at Stranger, who vanished in flash of shadows slipping between cracks of air. Drogon landed, beating wings. Frostfire gusts evaporated, replaced by rolling heat. Beacon stones glowed red. Sam collapsed against basalt, vision swimming. He watched through haze as Daenerys slid from Drogon's back. Run to child, lift him into arms. Winifred herded warriors to secure piers. Warlocks fled to sloop. Unsullied burned fog with torch volleys. Marwyn materialized beside Sam, face blurred. "Hold," he ordered, pressing vial to wound. Fluid stung like pepper wine, numbness receded. Sam's ears rang as sound returned. Shouts, crackle of flames, clang of steel. Daenerys approached, child safe in arms. Cloak fringed with frost. She looked at Sam, eyes twin comets. "You bled so they might breathe." Sam forced smile. "Just a cut." She passed boy to nurse, knelt. "This ends. Warlocks cannot follow alive." She rose, turning to Marwyn. "Burn their ship." Marwyn nodded to Grey Worm. Flammatipped arrows soared. Sloop ignited. Blue sparks shot skyward, then died. Warlocks screamed, but Sam felt cold certainty some escaped. Shadows flicking across water like oil slick. He pushed to feet, helped by Alaris. Beacon seethed, but city stood. Manderley lumbered to scene, breath clouding. He surveyed scorched quay, frost-black stones. "My harbor shivers," he croaked, voice breaking. "North remembers dragons and devils." Daenerys faced him, shoulders regal. "Devils stalk us all. I never sought your docks for plunder, Lord Wyman. I seek allies to face winter's jaws." She gestured to Sam. "My scholar risked life to spare your blood. Will you ride with him to Winterfell, to Jon Snow, and stand where dead will march?" "Not even." Manderley wiped tears frozen on beard. "Eh?" The Manderley stand. He clasped Sam's uninjured arm. Fat man owes fat boy feast unmatched. Sam's knees nearly gave from relief. Yet inside chest, he felt Grimoire pulsing. Page 39 burning question. Name of flame. Balance still fragile. Devils still dance. Within Newcastle's Grand Hall later, torches burned high, tables groaned under whale steaks, crab pies, sweet onions and butter. But appetite deserted Sam. He sat near hearth where Gilly would have baked bread. Daenerys and Tyrion spoke strategy with lords. Marwyn poured Sam horn of hot cider. "You named Frostfire but bent it," the Archmaester said. "Clever. But you tasted dagger of Siegrian. That mark may echo." Sam fingered wound, bandaged thick. Area throbbed with cold. "All magic marks," Marwyn continued. "Some scars speak later. Listen for whispers when night grows thin." Sam stared into flames. They unnerved him now. Could vanish by spoken syllable. "How do we win this war, Marwyn?" "By refusing victory," the mage answered. "Balance, lad. We knit fire and ice so world endures halfway between. Too much dragonfire births another doom, too much frost births endless night." Sam shook head. "And book teaches balance? It tempts extremes. Good scholar wields half, discards other, like smith scorches metal then quenches." Marwyn clapped Sam's shoulder. "We'll forge new dawn, just accept hammering." Sam breathed, tasted smoke and juniper. Nearby the child he saved, laughed chasing cat along benches. Winifred sang Ballad of Wolves, Den Tu harp, but Dederar. Tyrion toasted resilient seals. For a moment, Hall felt safe. Then Sam noticed draft. Window ajar high above. Frost formed on sill. Blue ember flickered then died. Something watched. Unseen. He shivered. Dawn's first light bled across harbor laced with steam rising from burned ship wreckage. Daenerys met Sam on parapet overlooking sea. Rhaegal perched behind, grooming talons. "The bedchambers we offered. Did you sleep?" she asked. "Dreams kept me waking," Sam admitted. "Mine too." She rested arms on stone. "Every victory tastes of ash. Still, dragons soared for 1,000 years without me. They can endure a little more sorrow now." She exhaled. "Tomorrow we ride for Winterfell. Jon will see proof in harbor stones if not our hearts." Sam met her gaze. "He'll bend to truth when he sees you." She smiled small. "Bending is for those who kneel. I prefer standing together." Below, work gangs cleared ice-scorched debris. Manderly troops practiced spear drills. Unsullied joined, mimicking moves exactly. A dance of cultures. Dragons circled city's high tower. Townsfolk cheered nervous smiles. Daenerys turned to Sam. "When Jon and I meet, I need counsel beyond swords. Will you stand by me?" "Nah." Sam thought of Book's burden, of Jon's trust, of World's trembling fulcrum. He nodded. "I will." She squeezed his forearm, warm against lingering chill. "Then let's begin stitching dawn." Rhaegal flared wings, shrieked at morning sun rising above Bite. Somewhere north, Night King marshaled legions, and somewhere south, hidden warlocks bound dragons in chains of blue. But on this wall high over a harbor half frozen, a queen of fire and a maester of fear forged fragile alliance. Sam closed eyes, letting sun thaw wound's edge. He whispered vow to sky. "Gilly, hold on. I carry spark and shadow, but I will bring day." He turned from parapet to gather quills, ink, runes. Letters awaited, maps to draft, oaths to pen. War's memory would be written in ice and flame alike, and Samwell Tarly would script both. So none could forget what must never be repeated, and so the dawn, however thin, could rise upon a world still worth the telling.